what's up, everyone? This is Ren with Dance with My Demons podcast. Are you looking to start a podcast? Then let Buzzsprout be the way. Today is a great day to start your own podcast. Whether you're looking for a new marketing channel, have a message you want to share with the world, or just think it would be fun to have your own talk show. Podcasting is an easy, inexpensive, and fun way to expand your reach online. Buzzsprout is hands down the easiest and best way to launch, promote, and track your podcast. Your show could be online and listed on all the major podcast platforms like Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google Podcast, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and many more, just within minutes of finishing your recording. Podcasting isn't hard when you have the right partners, and the team at Buzzsprout is passionate about helping you succeed. Join over 100,000 podcasters already using Buzzsprout to get their message out to the world. With Buzzsprout, you can create something great together. Follow the link in the show notes, which lets Buzzsprout know we sent you. Buzzsprout will send you a $20 Amazon gift card if you sign up for a paid plan, and it's sent after a second paid invoice. And it helps support our show as well. Buzzsprout, the best way to create a great and professional podcast. Later. Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Ren with Dance with My Demons podcast, and welcome back to Season 3 of Dance with My Demons podcast show. And not only is it the beginning of Season 3, but it's also the second year anniversary of the show. And there's a lot to talk about. I really want to more or less make this an episode of, I guess, remembering the past 2 years of the show up to this point before we lead into a full season of Season 3. So with that being said, sit back, hit play, and welcome to Dance with My Demons podcast. Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to Dance with My Demons podcast. This is Season 3 of the Dance with My Demons podcast, Episode 1. And, God, where do I start? This is the second year anniversary of the show. So we have actually over 3,000 actual downloads of the show so far. We're in 40 countries, recorded 46 episodes already. For me, that's a pretty big accomplishment for a show that I never imagined it would actually happen. But I'm very proud of this show. It brought a lot of awareness. It's allowed me to be able to speak and get out much of what I live with and what goes on inside of me out. But it also allowed me to reach other people and be able to help other people and get some feedback. You know, it turns out that this show actually has touched some lives out there. And, you know, with 40 countries, that's a lot of lives, and I am very grateful for all the listeners out there who stayed with the show for going to be 3 seasons now. You know, it's definitely been an excellent ride. But before we get started, I want to, make somewhat of a public service announcement. As of July 16th, the number 988 is now the official mental health hotline number, which will lead you to the Suicide Crisis Lifeline, based out of the United States here. And this will lead you right to a suicide prevention network of over 160 crisis centers that provide 24 hours a day, 7 days a week service via this toll-free hotline. It's it's available to anyone in a suicidal crisis or emotional distress. The caller is routed to the nearest crisis center to receive immediate counseling and local mental health referrals. The Lifeline supports people who call for themselves or someone they care about. So there you go, another very important outlet for those in the mental health community who might be in a need. And they made it so much easier now with just 3 simple numbers, 988. So keep that in mind. If you find yourself dealing with suicide or having suicidal thoughts, or maybe just on the edge and just about to break, this is the number for you, 988. It's the mental health hotline official number for the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. So keep that in mind. So with that being said, let's get right into the show. Wow, where do I start? So I guess I should start back at the beginning again, which was July 25th, 2 years ago, where I literally was sitting at my then home in a COVID quarantine, not sure what I was going to do with my time, but what a better way to spend my, I guess it was 7 or 10 days or something to that effect of being quarantined, of doing something creative. And I was able and fortunate to create this podcast. It's definitely been a wonderful experience. I've been able to share a few interviews with people that I care about. I definitely was able to speak a lot of really heavy topics that were happening with me in my life, whether dealing with death or depression or anxiety or a lot of different things, I guess, that I was going through over the past 2 years. So it's definitely helped me out a lot, and getting everything I needed to talk about out. And there's still so much more. Why? Because living with a mental illness doesn't end. It's something we will live with forever. It's something that just stays with us. Unfortunately, there is no real cure for it, but there is ways to manage it, through therapy, through lifestyle changes, through medication. There's definitely ways to manage it, and to manage it successfully. I think the greatest thing that I got out of these past 2 years of the show being around was being able to speak, because for the longest time I wasn't really good at speaking about it. Now let me kind of clarify that. I had spoken about my mental health illness many a time and over many conversations, whether it be through therapists or family members, because those are the ones who knew what I was living with. So, those conversations were had many, many, many times. But I guess what I really mean by not being able to speak about it much is I never really spoke about it freely or openly with, I guess, the general public or with everybody else in the world. And wow, what a bigger way to do it than to do it on a podcast show, right? So I guess it's one of those deals, go big or go home. But I definitely loved it. It's definitely had its moments, ups and downs, but it is definitely something I enjoyed. And for those of you that know already about, through listening through season 2, that it's led me to a potential new career path, or I should say a second career, as the way I'm looking at it, as hopefully becoming a therapist or counselor of some sort. And I have enrolled in school. I am currently in school online right now as an undergrad, and taking a few classes, but it's been very challenging, definitely engaging. It definitely it sparks my attention and thoughts and new thoughts and things I never even thought about by taking these classes have come to my mind, and new ways of looking at things, and I guess new ways of looking at people and everything around me in my life, and how it's helped me in a lot of different ways. It's definitely been educational for sure, no pun intended, but it definitely has, and I'm enjoying it. And every intention of seeing it through till I get my degrees and able to put this to use. Because ultimately through this show, and what I've loved is the connection I have found and the need to want to connect more with people on a more one-on-one basis as well. And I think that's what spawned me wanting to go back to school, was doing this show and loving the connection of putting my experiences out there, but also connecting with people that I'd never thought I would connect with. So it's definitely been fun. It's definitely been, like I said, educational, and I'm loving it very much. And I intend to continue on, even though I am going back to school. I am currently in school, and will continue going through school until I complete. But I am, the very intention is to keep the podcast going for as long as possible. I think originally when I started the podcast, being this is the beginning of season 3 now, I think my intention or my thought back then was to really only go as far as about season 4, maybe season 5 of the show, and kind of close it out there. But now that I've been doing it for a while and really enjoying it, and now being in school now and learning so much more, I feel like there's just so much more to talk about and engage and to bring to the show to hopefully help others out there that are listening that maybe don't have access to a lot of the information that's out there. It's a good way of sharing my experiences and what I'm learning through my classes and my studies right now. So I thought that was pretty neat. I thought that it would be very cool and very important to do with keeping the show going, is now that I'm going to school, to keep sharing those experiences. Why not? And with this new season coming up, or in now that we're in it, I plan on sharing so much more, touching on a lot of new topics, a lot of current topics, things with how digital consumption as it has taken over our lives, and how it's affecting us, with anxiety and depression, and through social media with cyberbullying and things that are happening online, and how it's affecting not only myself but those I love and care about, and in general the people in this world today, and how it's affecting them. There's so much more to talk about. There's new topics I plan to get into, those that reflect how we live our lives in this world today, especially this crazy world that we're living in, with different illnesses and political climate being what it is, and the actual earth climate being what it is, and just so many different things that are happening all over this world, how it's affecting us all in a mental health manner. Definitely so much to talk about, and I plan on talking about as many of those topics as possible. So that's one of the things I plan on doing, and looking forward to doing in this next season coming up. And I look forward to continue hearing from people out there. You can still find me on Facebook, the Dance with My Demons Facebook page. You could also find me on Instagram, the Dance with My Demons page, and also on Twitter. So there's many ways you can continue to get a hold of me through. And I hope to continue to speak about the things that you'd like to talk about, and answer any questions that you may have for me. But I hope this was a good way to kick off the season, because I am very proud of this show. It's definitely been a passion now, and though I take breaks from time to time, it's because it's needed at time. And not only do I live a life of doing this show, but now being back at school and still working a very full-time career and managing, I guess, a personal life, you could say. So there is a lot going on in my life, but I intend to continue to give out as many episodes as possible, and be as consistent this season as possible, more than I was on season 2. So the intention right now is to still release an episode every Sunday night, or every 2 weeks from the last episode. So it's either every week or every 2 weeks you'll be getting a new episode. With the kickoff, I'll be giving you 2 episodes. This is being episode 1, and also I plan on a second episode. And I have a very interesting episode coming up, and it's kind of dedicated to somebody in my life who kind of sparked this episode for me. The episode 2 is entitled "Who Am I and Who Are You?" And it's basically me speaking about who we are in our lives and how we cope and live with mental illness, or how we fit in this world, whether we're dealing with it through depression or anxiety, or being introverted or extroverted, or autism, cyberbullying. How do we all fit into this world while still managing everything that we have to kind of live with today? So that's going to be the basis of episode 2. So I hope you enjoy episode 1 today, because I wanted to make a fun one. And in my original trailer for season 3, it was intended to have a special guest, and that's still very much the intention. There will be guests on this show again for season 3, but I decided to put that off until a little bit later and focus on something a little bit different, and start off the show with the anniversary to make it something more uplifting, but also continue on with some new topics, and I will pepper in interviews along the way. So I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I hope you stay tuned for episode 2 of Dance with My Demons podcast. So until then, stay strong in mind, stay strong in heart, but most of all, don't let the demons get you down. Later. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. I'll be back with an all-new episode very soon. Until then, you can catch past episodes of Dance with My Demons podcast on anywhere you listen to your favorite podcast on. You can also catch me on Instagram at Dance with My Demons 69, on Facebook, Dance with My Demons podcast, on X at DWMD podcast 69. And also, if you or somebody you know is going through an emotional or mental crisis, 988 is the National Suicide Lifeline. Keep that in mind. We're all in this together, and everybody needs each other's help. So until then, stay strong in mind, stay strong in heart, but most of all, don't let the demons get you down. Later.